Okay, great. So today what we're going to go over is how we can generate about 20 plus bookings a month on LinkedIn. And this is all without ads. Now, I want to make sure you're in the right spot. So this is going to be for people that are business to business. You have to also be using Sales Navigator, which is about $100 a month or so. They may have a discount if you sign up for a year. And your services have to cost at least a few $1,000s to really take advantage of this, to really see the scale at work. So I know some of you have used social media before, and maybe used it to various degrees of success. I know I have. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But sometimes it can just be like setting your money on fire. And so this way is more predictable. It's easier to scale, and I'm going to share with you some of the success I've had with it. So this is probably the most. This was after 1 month in this process where I sent out. I started my campaign with um, running trademark services, intellectual property. And this message that I got back in the first month was someone looking for 5 to 6 trademarks for their business. And so this is, again, but these are results that work for me. And, 5 to 6 trademarks at a couple thousand trademark, you can do the math. And it didn't take long for me to leverage this process to get there. Here's another one where even if somebody has already solved their problem, they're still interested in what I have to offer because of my approach. So I'm going to talk about how you can get similar results, how you can still connect with people to work with you, even if they think they've solved their problem. So my story begins with starting my firm. This was my marketing strategy. So I sent to my friends and family like, "Hey, it's been a while. Come work with me." And for what it's worth, I did get one client doing this, but then from there, it's like, what was going to be the strategy going forward? You have to create a business that's predictable, that brings in a revenue every month, so you can increase your impact, so you can serve the businesses in your community, excuse me, and really just expand your message. And I thought, okay, let me get on social media. That is where everything is. So got an Instagram, started posting about trademarks, started talking about current events, what was going on with different brands and influencers, the mistakes that people were making. And as you can see, my results weren't that great. And it was a arduous process. Every day it's like, oh, I gotta post again and again and again. If you listen to Gary Vee, you gotta post like 10 times a day, every day. But as you can see, I had 69 followers, uh and wasn't that great. Then so I'm in business to business. I'm thinking, okay, Instagram is not the place for me to be. So then I go to LinkedIn and I make a post, and I got some interest, but the people that were interested, I try to follow up with them. They would not respond, and it was just, I'm just like racking my brain on how really to make this work. So my personality is like I'm a researcher. I put on my white lab coat, and I just had to figure out what was going to be the systematic process that was going to bring in clients month after month. And it really just boiled down to math and psychology, which led me to develop this platform that books appointments for businesses on autopilot. So let's discuss how to leverage these two principles of math and psychology to generate book leads for your business without any further ado. The first thing you have to do is optimize your profile. So I'm sure you've heard about this before, but let's talk less about theory and more about practice, because I want you to get a result from this workshop, not just have information, right? So an actionable result. So we're going to go through a profile. That's one of my favorites in the space on LinkedIn. And he does a really great job of creating a profile where people clearly understand who he is and what he does, who he does it for. And that is the goal, for people to understand who you are, what you do, and how you can solve their problem. Right. So let's look at Justin Welsh. And this is going to be the model. This is a model profile. So a lot of times when I go to LinkedIn pages, the headshot isn't great, or that's if there's a headshot. This banner is usually missing. What they do is not readily easily understood, and so on and so forth. So let's break down what a good profile looks like and how to optimize it, so that when people come to your profile, they understand that you can help them solve their problem. So you want a clear profile, right? If you don't have a headshot, there are AI options out there where you can get a profile picture made for you, a headshot made for you. All you have to do is put in like 8 different photos and they'll make one for you. Right, so you need that. Then you want to have a banner that clearly, excuse me, see the LinkedIn out, the campaigns are on right now. I need to turn them off while I'm doing this presentation, but it's too late now. So the operating system for LinkedIn creators is what Justin Welsh is selling. Now you're going to be selling something different, and you need to highlight what you do. So for me, I do 2 things. I protect brands and I generate leads for businesses. Those are the 2 companies that I'm involved in. And I would have that here. For you, you may be serving businesses as a human resources administrator or something like that. And that has to be readily understood here, right? And so one easy way to do that is to go to Canva, go to LinkedIn banner, and there's all of these different options that you can choose, templates, and it's free. Most of these templates are free. And it just has to be on point branding and with your name and what you do. It's really simple. It's not complicated at all. But you have to have something there or people won't take you seriously. Okay. The next thing you want to do is list the problem that you solve and who you solve it for. So here, he clearly is has a 1-person business, right? And has this operating system for LinkedIn creators. Like, this is very clear. So you want to be clear on in what you do, right? The next thing is to have the link to the product or service that you're selling. So most of you are selling book calls. This is what this presentation is about. You want to have either a case study here works great on how you were able to deliver for a past client. And you have 2 links actually. So, or maybe the article that you wrote that was most popular, you want to put that here. You want to be showing yourself as someone that knows what they're talking about. You don't have to be an expert, right? But you have to know what you're talking about, and you have to demonstrate that on your profile. Remember that we're not talking about expertise, that you're the top of your field, but you must be good at what you do and let people know about it. Your LinkedIn profile is not the time to be humble. You need to highlight what you're good at. Then with your about section, you want to be able to tell a story that shows that you can deliver the result that you for your business, right? So for Justin Welsh, it's about creating a way to predictably create content on LinkedIn. Whatever your particular business is, you want to craft a story around how you deliver that service, how you solve that problem for other people, right? Fill out your experience. And one key thing about the experience is like sometimes I see these logos missing. Whenever you have missing logos, it just communicates to someone that either that business isn't real or uh, that you're not really active on the platform. You just want to communicate again that you know where you've been, the experience that you have is valuable, and it comes off as less valuable if these logos are missing. Okay. And then you want to make sure you have a couple of recommendations talking about how you've helped people. Okay. So profile optimization, that was sort of just like a drive by, not going into detail, but it's extremely important to when people start coming to your profile to have a place that demonstrates that you're good at what you do. All right. Now, when it comes to lead generation, the way I started initially, I had a practice. I practice law, and initially I started in estate planning, and then I was doing corporate, and then I was doing uh, a little bit of family. And so what would happen though is every time I got a client, I had a client in a particular practice area, and then that client had a particular problem that wasn't always the same. And so every time I served a client, it was different every time. The standard operating procedures were different every time, and it wasn't predictable, right? And so the way to fix that was just to get rid of everything, because not everything, but to get rid of most of the practice areas and just focus on one. And not just focus on one practice area, but focus on a practice area for a particular person. So for you, you may be in marketing, you may be a broker in insurance. Like if you're in marketing, you're not marketing to everybody. You want to be able to pick a particular style of marketing, whether it's social media or something different, and for a particular vertical. That way you'll be able to charge premium pricing, be able to, you'll show yourself that you are the go-to professional, and you have a predictable process, right? If you're doing something different every time you serve a client, it just slows you down and it's much more difficult to scale. So let me show you how to find leads. And again, as a reminder, you need Sales Navigator, right? So once you've nailed down like who you're talking to and what you do for that client, you just go find them. And this is what we do. This is what Motion to Scale, the name of our company, this is what we do for our clients. We just go in here and say, okay, I'm an attorney, and let's say I wanted to help attorneys with operation management. Let's say I was selling operations management to other lawyers. So I'd put in lawyer, and initially I got back 5 million results. Like that's too many. I can't help 5 million lawyers. Also, my product, maybe it's for large firms only, or maybe it's for small firms only. But let's just say I want to serve big firms only, right? So let's go. I want to serve them in the United States. So I'm just going to scroll down here to United States, include. All right. And we've gone from 5 million to 1 million, still too many, right? Let's see. I want to get down to about a few thousand or so. So industry, of course, the industry is law. So legal practice. And yeah, I don't want to include legal services necessarily, because that could be like paralegals and such. And I just want to target the decision makers at big law firms. So law practice. Again, this is an example. So it's not going to be perfect, but I just want to show you what's possible. All right. Now, headcount. Remember, I said the law firm is big. So big in our industry is usually around 100. You start saying the law firm is a big firm. So let's go with company count 51 to 100. And we also have to 1,000. And we can stop there, you know. And then the current job title. So usually you're probably reaching out to the administrators if you're talking about practice management. But let's just say we wanted to reach the top lawyer. So it'd probably be managing partner. Include that. And now we're at a reasonable number, 778. So then I would create a campaign going out to these 800 lawyers or so and connecting with them, a connection campaign, right? That connection campaign will go on for about 6 weeks or so. But you see how simple it is to find exactly who you're talking about. So let's actually look at these. So we have all of these managing partners. If you keep scrolling, you can probably get to all of them, right? And so the key is, this is the math I was talking about. For every 500 prospects you have, because here was 800, right? Rounding up, you're going to get 20 to 50 responses. Okay. Out of those 20 to 50 responses, you probably get around 10 to 25 book meetings. And depending on what your the cost of your service is, you can do the math on how that would transform your business. Okay. So then the question is, once I connect with the people that would most likely take advantage of my services, what do I actually say to them? Which is important, because that is part of the process, is not just finding who to speak to, but saying the right things. Because this is social selling. This process is not about selling on the first turn. It's about making connections, being friendly, discovering whether you can solve someone's problem. And then if someone's interested, then you take them to the next step, which is a book call, right? So the psychology. So I'm going to go through an example of how I connected with beauty entrepreneurs that were looking to trademark their brand. Okay. The first connection message that I sent is, I see you're on the glowing side of LinkedIn crafting skincare solutions. I'm in your industry, want to engage. Let's connect. You have time for a few questions. That's it. You don't come on saying, hey, I saw this. I do trademarks and I think you need one. Would you like to buy one from me? No, that's not how we do things at all. Okay. You want to, it's just like if you meet somebody in an in-person networking event, the person who's like casing the room and saying bye for me right away, like that, you stay away from them. Or it's like going on a first date, and on the first date they ask you to marry them. It's like, yo, this person's weird. All right, so that we're not doing no hard selling here. All right, it's making connections, and then once they connect, this person said, "You man, nice to make your acquaintance." Go ahead, ask the questions that you want to ask. From there, excuse me, let me just take a drink of water. From there, I respond. So what date was that? The 24th. 4 days later, happy to connect. And then my question is one that is discovering what the pain point is, right? So as I continue to go through this example, think about how you can reverse engineer this process to work for your particular business. Okay. So my question was, how are you protecting your brand and products from imitation in a saturated market? Because if beauty entrepreneurs aren't protecting their intellectual property, their brand, their logos, their slogans, their packaging, another company could take advantage of that and profit off the hard work of someone else. So my question is, what is your strategy to that? As you can see, they did not respond. That was on the 28th of August, no response, right? And so the key to this process is the follow up, because most people are not going to respond after the first message. You have to follow up. Again, remember, this is a 4 message sequence. Okay. So when someone doesn't respond, I like to wait a few days, sometimes 5. This was about 6 or 7 days or so. And I said, well, I'm asking because I help people like you protect their brand. And this is how I do it. If I can demonstrate how I can do it for your brand, would you be open to a chat? Simple, right? And the follow up is key, because if you don't follow up, they'll just forget about you. People are so busy. They're doing other things. They have kids running around. I have a son running around. If I see a message and I don't respond, it's not out of bad intent. It's just that maybe, or not that I'm not interested. Maybe I just didn't, maybe I saw it and couldn't respond because my kid was screaming, right? People are interested in themselves and what they have going in themselves. So never take it personally when someone doesn't respond. Okay. So that was September 4th. September 12th, they respond and say, sure. So that first question was, or the second question, if I can show you how this process can work for you, would you be open to a chat? They say, sure. The next day, I send out a calendar link, say, hey, the one thing I'll tell you about these calendar links is that when I first started, I would just send them out. And I realized it was a little bit forward, a little bit pushy, because people would send them to me and I'd be like, who are you to send me a calendar link to get on your calendar? Like, it was kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, I don't know what the word is. Pretentious, maybe, inconsiderate. But so then I started asking people like, hey, what are the best days to connect? You can send them over, or if it's more convenient for you, you can find a slot on my calendar. Of course, I want them to find a slot on my calendar because they get the sequences of follow up, so on and so forth. But the most important thing is the book meeting. So I do whatever's necessary for that to happen. And most times it's my calendar, but sometimes we go back and forth with days and times, which is annoying, but it is what it is, right? So the next day I respond with my calendar link. Day after, that was the 13th of September. October 24th, so a month and a half or so goes by. They didn't book on the 13th. They didn't book. A month and a half goes by, and I send another follow-up message. Is something you're still interested in? And then Monday, which was maybe a couple days later or so, they say, hi, yes, I have to find some time in my schedule to connect. And I send my calendar link again. Saying, sounds great. Just pick a time that works for you. Okay. And then finally, they booked. And so The way this works is, well, so what is this? The 24th, and we originally connected on August 24th. So that's 2 months that go by. That so it took 2 months for this person to get on the calendar. But once you begin, right, and you start ramping up by month three, if you're sending five, remember you got to send like 500 connections a month, right? So by the time people start responding, it's an everyday occurrence because the people that you reached out to in September are, some people respond right away. You know, some people are on it, they respond that week. Some people don't respond until October, and sometimes they respond in November. But the key is the follow up process. That's key. This part right here is important because for every 500, you'll get about 20 to 50 responses. And those 20, 50 responses will come over time. Several, sometimes that week, sometimes several weeks, sometimes several months. But the way to ensure that you have the amount of responses that you need to get the amount book meetings that you need, you have to be sending out 500 connections. That is the key. Now, you might be wondering, how am I going to send out 500 connection requests and then do the follow-up responses for message chain sequence just to get these book meetings, right? That may be what you are concerned about, right? We do this all for you if you like. Now, I want you to go out and get a result. Like the process I just walked you through, reverse engineer that and go get a result. Okay? It's really simple. The more challenging part is scale. So, our team at Motion to Scale, we have account managers that run these campaigns for you. We craft your ideal customer profile. We target them with connections. We send the connection request, 500 a month for you. Those that do not respond to your connection request, or once they connect and don't respond to your message, we follow up 3-4 times until they respond. And then all you have to do is close the deal. You get on and you close the deal. We have a platform dedicated to this for this process. It's called Motion to Scale. You can check it out at motiontoscale.com, or you can get on a demo with me. I can show you how this works at demo.motiontoscale.com.